Hi everybody, it's Az here from Heel vs Babyface with my 600th, believe it or not, video on my YouTube channel in the space of, give or take a few days, 18 months, so a year and a half. I has been the YouTubings, and here we are clicking on to video 600. Wow, so I'm really chuffed about that. I mean, yes, a lot of my videos are very short, compact, because apparently you guys on the internet have no attention spans. True story. That's what they say. You've got to make your videos short and sweet because they can't concentrate on anything more than 3 seconds. Because that's what we are as a generation of people now. Whatever. But some of my videos have been short. Some of my videos have been much longer. And today, well, we'll see how long today's video goes on for. But one thing I wanted to do, dinging 600, if I can put it that way, is I wanted to do something a little bit more special for you guys. And I thought, you know, what have I done? What haven't I done? And I've brought you many things in pretty much different and same formats. And what I mean by that is, you've seen me do a lot of kind of solo content, and then I've tweaked how I've done the solo content. So you saw me doing some recently anyway. You saw me starting off doing Raid Boss 101, where I was doing some low level raids because there were level 70 raids and stuff, Tempest Keep and such, showing you how to kill people like Canrathad, Kel'Thuzad, Canrathad, yeah, and him, Kel'Thuzad and things like that. And of course you could farm the Ashes of Allah that way. And then I escalated from those 101 videos to doing slightly more intricate raid bosses, which involved a little bit of jiggery pokery. And then from there, it escalated even further, and I started to do Cataclysm raid bosses. Then we got the Canrathad video. Now Canrathad comes in. Then we got the Canrathad video, which was the Warlock Greenfire questline, which was at the time probably the most intense solo thing I did. Now, within recent weeks, we've seen me do solo Mr. Pandaria heroic 5-person dungeons. So existing content, heroic dungeons being soloed with, on top of that, achievements inside of those dungeons being soloed as well. So I've kind of done lots of different solo content at how you can test yourself. You know, push yourself to your limits. And one thing that kind of separates that from what I'm going to do here is the fact that I can do a lot of trial and error. So with some of those bosses, if you follow my streams, I've said on my streams, you always get to see the end product. You always get the completion. You get the money shot when I do the video on YouTube. What you don't see, and what I did one day on my stream, was show you all the stuff you never see. And that's me kind of like working out how to do fights, wiping every now and again, working out why I wiped. Did I wipe because they were just too hard? Could I have done something? Could I have tweaked something? Etc, etc. So I did that last week in one of my streams. So you actually got the back end of it all. You actually got to see me solo Mogushan Palace, 5-person heroic Mr. Pandaren dungeon, from scratch. I'd only very, very briefly attempted it. First boss, and then I actually moved on to something else. So that was my first legitimate attempt to solo the dungeon. Got through the first boss fine. Wiped on the second boss because I got the order wrong of the council fight there to see which one I should knock off first. Etc, etc. So you got to see that. So what I decided to do was, for me anyway, maybe now take it to the next level of challenge. And I could think of no other way to celebrate 18 months and 600 videos on YouTube than by attempting the Ironman challenge legitimately. And I say legitimately because I did a video a little while ago. I did a troll video, surprise, surprise, with a troll character. Surprise, surprise. where I attempted to do the Ironman challenge and failed at level 1. It was just meant to wind people up. It was just trying to give some people a giggle. I say it wasn't attempting to wind people up, but it wound some people up, which astounds me, absolutely astounds me. All it was there for was hopefully to give you guys a wee bit of a giggle, a wee bit of a chuckle. I got quite a few people from that video anyway saying, why don't you attempt it? And it is a huge time sink, which is one of the reasons I haven't pushed too far into considering this. But with all my recent soloing and doing what I've been doing, it suddenly became a more organic and natural process for me to do. So if you don't know what the Ironman Challenge in WoW is, I'm kind of going to go through the rule book with you, and you can see how difficult it is actually going to be. Now, first things first, you have to use dice to roll a random character, a random class, I should say, be more specific. So you assign each class a number. Obviously, it has to, if you're using 2 dice, then you can't have a class at 1, because 2 dice can't add up to 1. The lowest that they can add up to is 2. Surprise, surprise, 1 and 1. And really coincidentally and weirdly and maybe spookily and maybe a message from beyond, I assigned Warlock as number 6, and lo and behold, I rolled a 4 and a 2. And it was the Warlock class. I then assigned 1 dice, 1 to 3 to be male, 4 to 6 to be female. I rolled a 1. So I was going to be a male character. And then you assigned the different races, which could be a Warlock onto a die. And lo and behold, and I say lo and behold, because you'll understand why in a second, I got undead. And this was just like spooky beyond belief. Because the very first character in WoW that I rolled is the Warlock, which I have today as Bats. But, he says as he smacks the table, I'm gesticulating as I talk and my hand just whacked the table. The very first character which I rolled in the World of Warcraft, which is the character that you see me play virtually all the time, my Warlock Asbats, was actually undead male to start with. Now it's very much alive male and on the Alliance side. But he was an undead horde Warlock male. And so I just felt it was fate. I thought fate was saying to me, let's do it. Let's do it. And so here we are. Now I'm going to go through the different rules, and one thing that I need clarifying first of all is I've gone through all the rules and I can't see anything which says I cannot have the Razor Naga UI. You're not allowed to have add-ons which legitimately aid you, as in quest helpers and stuff like that and so forth, which I don't have anyway. I only have a very few add-ons. I get lots of people asking me what's my add-ons, and I go through it all the time in streaming, so it's probably the question which makes you go ah the most. But anyhow, the only add-ons which I have in the game is my Razor Naga UI. I have Recount for to see how big my penis is, of course. I have Nice Damage, which is the font one, and by the way, the cast bar is all incorporated in the Razor Naga UI. I have the Nice Damage, which is the font, and I have DBM for dungeons and raids. Well, not you need it for dungeons, but for raids, etc. So DBM is not active. It would not be active in this. So the only add-ons that I've got active are the Recount, the Nice Damage, and the Razor Naga UI. Now, if for any reason the Razor Naga UI isn't allowed, then I will simply start it from scratch again. But it's no drama. We're going to like level. I'm stopped at level 5 at the moment, without dying, by the way. But I'm going to go through some other criteria of the Ironman challenge. Now, it goes from level 1 to level 85. It doesn't go from 85 to 90. It goes from level 1 to 85 at the end of Cataclysm. And the gear that you can use, the only gear that you can use, are white or grey, bit racist, white or grey items. You're not allowed to use any greens, you're not allowed to use any blues, and you're not allowed to use any epics, even if you find them through world drops, and even if you're offered them through quest rewards. Of course, you can accept them as a quest reward, but you're not allowed to equip them. You're not allowed to benefit from their stats. And that's the word here. That's the big word here, is stats. Because green, blue, and epic items hold stats. Grey, white items do not. So you're not enhancing the stats of your character at all. Eek! To start with. And yes, it's clearly evident from what I've just said, you are not allowed to use bind on account items either. So you can't use things like heirlooms, okay? They're an absolute no-no. So it's only grey and only white gear. Yes, you can purchase greys or whites from an auction house. Yes, you can. And yes, you can sell on the auction house items that you find legitimately throughout the course of the game. But you're not allowed to equip greens, blues, epics, legendaries. Just thought I'd chuck that in for good measure. And bind on account stuff. You're not allowed to give your characters gold as well. You're not allowed to receive gold. You're not allowed to give it gold from other characters. The only money which you may use is the money that you earn in the game through quest rewards, through killing mobs, and through selling items that you find on the auction house. Okay. So if you do need to repair and you're out of money, tough titty bags. That is just tough. That is part and parcel of the Ironman challenge. You're not allowed any gear enhancements whatsoever. So that means you're not allowed to gem your gear, you're not allowed to reforge your gear, you're not allowed to enchant your gear, but your class abilities are allowed. Okay, so if, for example, you're rogue, then yes, you can put poisons onto your daggers. If you're a shaman, yes, you can put like flame tongue or whatever it is on your axes and such and so forth. And yes, you can use your class buffs. So I could use Dark Intent to buff myself with, mages. Mages can use their Arcane Brilliance or whatever it is, Arcane Intelligence, whatever, depending on which one you got. And priests can use the stamina buffs, etc, etc. So you can use your own class buffs. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But you're not allowed to use any specialization, talent points, glyphs, pet talent points, etc. So when I ding level 15, I'm not going to be able to use one of my talent points. It's just got to sit there. It's just got to sit there. I can't choose one of the three choices which I've got on offer to me. That's tough. It's tough. I can only use the class abilities which it gives me. That's all. And from what I can gather from this, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but it also means, as far as I'm aware, you're not allowed to choose a specialization. Am I correct here? So when you ding level 10, because this is what I'm kind of working off, I can't choose to go demonology. I can't choose to go destruction. I can't choose to go affliction. I just have to keep on going. I have to keep on going, and I can only work off the class spells which it gives me throughout the course of leveling up. Now, that is my interpretation of this. If somebody can, if I've got that completely wrong, please do tell me. On top of this, you're not allowed to get any professions. So you can't get things like enchanting, jewel crafting anyway. You can't get mining, because you can get stamina buff, of course, by leveling up your mining. Leatherworking, things like that. You can attach armor packs and all this kind of jazz. No professions whatsoever, except for first aid. That is the only profession that you're allowed. So that's one of the first things I'm going to do is go get my first aid. And therefore you can heal yourself up with bandages. which I feel is going to be vastly necessary throughout the course of the challenge itself. You can also not... This is a very negative video, isn't it? Everything's just no, 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 no. You're also not allowed to use potions. You're not allowed to use flasks, elixirs, all that kind of jazz. You can only use a potion if it's an actual quest item and given to you to complete a quest. But that is it. You can't use health potions, mana potions, stat buffing potions, flasks that do the same, etc, etc, etc. You can't eat food that would give you a buff. Yeah, so that really, really limits the amount of food that you can eat and how carefully you proceed. Ergo, first aid is really, really going to be your friend if you do not regenerate health through the course of whatever your class abilities may be. No groups or assistants. You can't have anyone else help you. You can't team up with anyone. Nobody else can get in a group and help you out. You've got to do all this on your Billy, on your Todd, Napoleon, Han, solo. It's got to be all on your own, which to me obviously makes a whole lot of sense. It'd be a ridiculous Ironman challenge if you're running around in groups of 5, just wiping everything out. But yes, if you're going to do this challenge, it's going to be very lonely. It's going to be very lonely indeed. You're going to be on your own, you know. So take that into consideration. It's going to be a very, very solitary feeling attempt, this. But that's okay. I do plenty of stuff on my own, so I don't believe it's going to affect me one way or another. You're not allowed to enter dungeons. You're not allowed to enter raids. You're not allowed to enter battlegrounds. You're not allowed to enter arenas. You can't do any of that. It's all got to be in the outside world. Ooh. So yeah, getting into a dungeon group, which, you know, again makes sense because you get stat-based items from dungeons, which you wouldn't be able to use anyway. But dungeons give good quests, and they give good rep, and they give good reward, and all that kind of stuff, good EXPs. So no, none of that's allowed. Same with PvPing. If you win PvP when you're not max level, you can get yourself some decent experience points, etc. Not allowed. Sorry. No. No guilds. Except if you create a level 1 guild, but I don't understand how that personally works. So I'm just going to stay out of guilds, full stop. You can't benefit from guild perks. You can't benefit from the EXPs. You can't benefit from the movement speeds, all that kind of stuff. So 0 guilds allowed, if you ask me. No refer a friend details, so you can't get experience boosts or anything like that from that. I'm thinking of all, you know, all the ways which people try and work around challenges like this. Well, nobody said that I couldn't recruit a friend, and then I couldn't get the 300% experience bonus, you know, and all the flasks, you know, the bound and the cow flask. No. So you can't do any of that whatsoever. No add-ons which assist in combat, which I've gone through earlier. So as far as I'm aware, my Razer UI is allowed. But again, if somebody wants to clarify if it isn't and points me to a legitimate source which says it isn't, then I'll simply restart from level 1. Because like I said, I've only got to level 5 so far. It's nothing drastic. And of course, the ultimate, the ultimate rule of the Ironman challenge, you can't die. That's the biggie. That's the all-encompassing one. The whole point of the Ironman challenge is not to die. So that's the biggest. It's the most important. If you die for whatever reason, so if you fall off a cliff and die, it's over. That is your Ironman challenge done and dusted. If you are killed by a mob, it's over. It's over. If you're run over by a horse and cart, it's over. If you're ganked by a member of the opposing faction, it is over. Now, quite clearly from saying that, Who in their right mind would even attempt to do an Ironman challenge on a PvP server is loony. I mean, absolutely 100% loony, because we've already seen, if you go to any low-level area, just level 90s from CRZ zones, because CRZ was such a good idea, Blizzard, well done. Slow clap. Ganking all low levels that they possibly can on PvP servers. Why they do this, I don't know. We've gone into the little penisitis thing and all that kind of stuff, but hey who. Now, you are allowed to use your class abilities, so your racials and your personal buffs, which I've gone into. So, yes, as well as the Forsaken, I can use Cannibalize. So I can munch stuff, I can eat stuff and gain health from it. That would be absolutely fine. You can use mounts, and you can use bags, and you can get vanity pets out, you know. So if you want to just have a nice little pet by your side to keep you company, because you've got to do this all on your own, sure. No problem indeed. But your bags have to be, again, whites. Whites or greys. I don't even know if you can get a grey bag. You can't have, you know, blue bags. You can't have the green bags. And you can't have epic bags. They've got to be the regular bags. So I think, off the top of my head, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, the highest bag number that you can get is a 12. It's a 12. So you can get a few 12s. And I think that's okay. And all quests, including holiday quests and event quests and daily quests, should be okay. You are okay to do dailies to get yourself experience. But obviously you're going to have to be quite far down the line before you even unlock your first daily. So there we go. This is the first part of the video over. I've got myself to level 5. I've yet to die. 5 down, 80 to go. But video number 1 of my Ironman challenge. Woo! What level, put in the comments below, do you think I'll either fail at or will I do it? If you think I'm going to fail, what level will I fail at? Put in the comments below. Also, put your support in the comments, would be great, because I need it, believe me. And how many people think I will actually do it? And also, would you like to see progress videos of how I'm getting on? But I hope you enjoyed this vid. Please do like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. 600 videos and 18 months strong. Also, follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Twitch for live streaming. And I shall be back with some more stuff very soon. So you take care, everybody, and bye-bye.